Benny Howell scored his maiden first-class 100 in his 78th innings as Gloucestershire ground Leicestershire down on the penultimate day of the LV County Championship match in Cheltenham. The home team started the third morning on 54 for 2 for a lead of 57, and it was vital to them not to lose any early wickets to open the door to Leicestershire. That door was shut firmly by Lewis Hill, who missed a golden opportunity to get rid of Michael Klinger half an hour into the first session. And Klinger tried his hardest to make the keeper pay for that moment of profligacy on a pitch which was very slow and had offered some inconsistent bounce. Playing freely wasn't always that easy, but Klinger and Gareth Roderick did manage to add 39 runs to the total in the day's first 15 overs. Roderick was then held by Hill off Clint Mackay, the batsman making 19 runs for more than an hour and a half at the crease. It was that kind of day for the most part. Only 61 runs were scored in the whole of the morning session, Klinger moving on to 46 by the time he reached the lunch break, with Gloucestershire on 115 for 3 and 118 runs ahead. 10 minutes after the restart, Klinger, now back as captain with Ian Cobain out of this match and the next few weeks, after breaking his wrist in the nets prior to the second day of this match, picked up a 4 down to third man to get to a 50 off 121 balls. That was his 10th boundary. Trying to force the pace a bit, the Australian was then out for 60, edging a drive off Charlie Shrek behind to go with his side on 131 for 4. It was the next partnership which put Gloucestershire on top. Howell had struck only one boundary from his first 110 deliveries, and then from nowhere he came down the wicket and hit Jigger Nake for a 6. Howell and Kieran Noema-Barnett were to bat through 40 overs together, in which they added 139 runs for the 5th wicket. It was at times tough for the two batsmen, but both showed off their fighting qualities, waiting patiently for the bad ball, in the knowledge that the longer they stuck it out on this day, the harder it would be for Leicestershire to chase a target on the last one. And naturally, the harder they worked, the easier batting eventually became. Howell is a man who normally likes to play his shots, yet on this occasion he used up 156 balls to register his half-century, his first of the championship summer. He struck 4 4s and 1 6 in that, and having applied himself so well, he was now determined to make the most of his efforts. With that out of the way, there followed a flurry of boundaries straight after tea. In the first over of the final session, Noema-Barnett clipped Nake over the rope. And this boundary then took the New Zealander to his 50 off his 86th delivery. That was his 7th 4 to go with that one maximum, and he had by now taken his partnership with Howell to 3 figures. Leicestershire were really struggling to even get a sniff of a chance. When Mark Cosgrove brought himself on to try to find something to help out his team, Howell saw his chance to score. He hit these 3 boundaries off the 1 over the Leicestershire skipper allowed himself, and that had the batsman to the highest score of his career, beating his previous best of the 83 not out he made against Yorkshire in Scarborough 3 summers ago. He'd made it to 93 when he finally lost Noema-Barnett at the other end for 61. Shrek with his 4th wicket of the innings as the Kiwi drove him to Greg Smith in the covers. He was out with Gloucestershire on 270 for 5. Howell finished off the same Shrek over with this well-timed 4, which took him to within 1 more scoring shot of his maiden ton in the first-class game. It has been a long time in coming for the former Hampshire man, who had limited opportunities in Southampton. He is a regular in this team and has, over the past couple of years, delivered some very useful contributions with both bat and ball, but this was what he'd been waiting for, and as he ended his 3rd run, you could see the relief on reaching 3 figures for the first time as he celebrated. It had taken him 202 balls to accumulate, his second 50 coming off only 46, and he'd struck 12 4s and 1 6. Perhaps the excitement got to him because he was out to the very next ball he faced. Mackay with the perfect Yorker to win an LBW to lead the home team on 284 for 6, 287 runs to the good. Jack Taylor scored an incredible ton of his own at this ground last week, and he now wanted to punish a tiring attack This shot carried the distance, but the same over that had brought the wicket of Howell for 102 and 11 runs ended when Taylor was bowled for 11. 11 runs later, Craig Miles was out to Shrek, who finished with figures of 5 for 82. And then, late in the day, Liam Norwell nicked off to Ben Rain. With Cobain absent hurt, Gloucestershire were all out for 321 after keeping their opponents out in the field for 112 overs. It left 8 more in the day, and Leicestershire needed to start their chase of a target of 325 by seeing out those overs. Angus Robson struck this boundary, as he and Matt Boyce did just what their side needed by getting to the close on 11 without loss. It means that Leicestershire have another 96 overs to knock off the remaining 314 runs they need on the final day. It is therefore anybody's game still.